Only through Parliament that we see accountability. And it is only Parliament that has that constitutional mandate to oversight the executive. Mr. Speaker, last week we heard Mr. President talk about the Iranian-Israeli war and said in express terms that the war definitely will have impact on our economy. However curious I found that statement to be, I leave Mr. President by his own words and posterity. However, Mr. Speaker, for my purpose, Mr. President said he has assigned the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Energy and Green Transition to study the economic impacts of the situation in Iran and Israel. Mr. Speaker, and report. Mr. Speaker, the appropriate forum for such action is Parliament. The Minister of Finance and his colleague Energy Minister should come to Parliament and tell us whether or not the Israeli-Iranian war is at all having any impact on our economy. Because, Mr. Speaker, only yesterday we were told that the Ukrainian-Russian war has no impact at all on our economy. That was what we were told only yesterday. So, Mr. Speaker, we want the majority leader to program these two ministers to appear before Parliament and update Parliament of these happenings on our economy. Mr. Speaker, what we want to achieve is that this update will guide us in how we communicate with our constituents. Mr. Speaker, this is a very short meeting. This meeting is a short meeting, and we are going to have a long break. You go to your constituency, they ask you about one job, three shifts. Why is it not coming? How would you answer? You go to your constituency, they ask you about the 24-hour economy. How would you answer? You go to your constituency, they ask you, why has the 1D, 1F been cancelled? How would you answer? Mr. Speaker, for me, giving us an update would help us make an informed decision. So we don't want Mr. President to just talk, but we want him to involve Parliament so that we'll be able to reach out to our people. Mr. Speaker, on that score, I want Honorable Minister to take this matter on board and come back with an appropriate response to the effect that these two ministers are going to be programmed. After all, Mr. Speaker, this week, some of them came in with some policy statement. Don't they consider this matter as an urgent matter to brief the House on? My second point, Mr. Speaker, we were in this House when the majority, relying on their numbers, one evening introduced an addendum order paper. There was no discussion on this matter at conclave, but sometimes when the majority leader is using his powers, you can't stop him. So he used his powers to introduce this addendum order paper. And at 10:30 p.m., when many Ghanaians were asleep, they introduced their energy recovery levy, otherwise known as Dumso levy. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians were disappointed. We, the minority here, expressed our dissent and our disagreement and eventually rejected that bill, which imposes 4 cedi 50 pesos per gallon of petrol. Mr. Speaker, later when they saw the backlash, they claimed that they are suspended. Mr. Speaker, the right thing to do is to repeal the law. We cannot trust executive discretion. Because, Mr. Speaker, the way they introduce it at night, they can reintroduce it at night. If they want Ghanaians to take them serious, we are the people's representatives. Come here and eat a humble pie. Come and eat a humble pie. This is democracy. You can't win it every day. Just come, Mr. Speaker, just come and repeal the law. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to encourage the majority leader to, Mr. Speaker, don't be intimidated. The majority leader has forgotten it was once upon a time the mid-fodder for the opposition. Mr. Speaker, you should look in my direction. I want an eyeball-to-eyeball contact with him. Mr. Speaker, he's intimidating you.
No, nobody is intimidating anybody. Nobody can intimidate me.
Let me direct it.
As nobody can intimidate you, nobody can also intimidate
me. Very well, Mr. Speaker, the point is that impression.
No. You see,
you were playing midfield for the then minority. You are talking about Mr. Speaker. Don't mind him.
Honorable minority leader. Honorable minority leader. There are so many ways you can come to the house
Mr. Speaker,
to address this issue.
Mr. Speaker, don't get into this one.
No.
Mr. Speaker,
I am managing the house now. I'm saying there are so many ways you can come to the house to address this issue. You can come by way of urgent statement. I mean, nobody can stop you. But when you just sneak it into business statement, obviously, I can't sit aloof. I will obviously guide you to at least manage it. But if you want to come and come properly, have a way of coming. And I'm here, I will allow you to speak. So please, this is a business statement.
Mr. Speaker, very well. Mr. Speaker, we take guidance from the chair. And it doesn't matter whether the chair is a Jew or a Christian or a Gentile. What is important is that the chair has advised. So, Mr. Speaker, I take a cue. Mr. Speaker, the mainstay of all I'm saying on this second issue is the minister, the majority leader, should program the finance minister to appear before us next week to repeal this law under the same certificate of urgency. It's very important, Mr. Speaker. It would help Ghanaians understand that indeed what the minority said, that it was wrong to introduce a Dumsor levy, you have at least listened for the first time. Mr. Speaker, these are the 2 points for now. I want him to respond so that, Mr. Speaker, I come back and deal with some other important issues.
Thank you, leader. Just come and respond to them and let's move to something else.
Mr. Speaker, I've taken on board the request that we should try and complete the work of the composition of committees. So where there were errors and those committees remain incomplete, I think that basically the two whips are the ones who are supposed to help us complete this exercise. So I'll follow up with the whips and make sure that they have done their work. The trade minister has been out of the jurisdiction for a while. That's why her questions keep being rescheduled. So I believe that she has officially written to us indicating that immediately she returns, she will come and answer her questions. On the number of ministers, I think it is obvious that the problem Ghana has had is with having too many ministers. It got to a point where we had about 118 ministers, and the public has been very unhappy with the political class, that is both political parties, NDC and MPP, in the past for appointing too many ministers. And the NDC made an effort to reduce the numbers by promising that we will not appoint more than 60 ministers. And we've done so well that we haven't even hit the 60 mark. And so I think that instead of the minority pushing us to appoint more ministers, they will be commending us for having managed the numbers to a point where it appears we may not need 60. It appears we may not need 60. The president appears to be doing well even with 56. So if that is the case, I think that we should be commended highly. And so it shouldn't be an issue that the president hasn't appointed 60. But it's good that you keep highlighting it, because the more you highlight it on this floor, the more Ghanaians are reminded that the president promised 60, but has done so well not to even appoint 60, but has appointed only 56. So I'm happy. So I'm happy if every week, every Friday, you raise it. So I'll encourage you, every Friday, raise it, so that I'll remind Ghanaians that the president promised 60, but didn't even get there. He managed to stop at 56. I believe Ghanaians will even want the number reduced. But, he promised 60, and he's kept it at 56. The Iran-Israeli war, yes. I think the other day, the foreign affairs minister actually wanted to make a statement on the Iran-Israeli war and all the issues that it raises pertaining to Ghana's interests. But because he had made a statement that day and then was answering questions, I advised that he should come on another day to make that statement. So I will draw the attention of the Minister for Foreign Affairs to come back and make the statement. Now, on releases, I should say that the releases are being made, and that is not an issue. The presence of ministers in the chamber, if you recall, we used to sit from 10 a.m. in the morning till about 2 in the afternoon. And during that period, we had difficulties getting the ministers to come and answer questions. So a decision was taken to shift our sitting to start at 2 o'clock. And the president issued directives through the secretary to the president to the ministers that now that Parliament starts sitting at 2 o'clock, no minister has an excuse for not being in Parliament. So a directive was issued to the ministers by the president that they should try and also be present. At least go to your office at 8 a.m. in the morning, work till 2, show up at Parliament. If the parliamentarians need you, they will see you there. They don't have to queue your office in order to see you. So the ministers come here so that you will have an opportunity to engage them on your constituency matters. That's the whole idea. This is a government serving its people. This is a government serving its people, making the ministers available to you as representatives of the people. So you don't have to follow them in their offices to have access. You can have access to them in the chamber. So any of you can always walk to the other side, engage a minister on a matter concerning your constituency, and that saves you having to go to your constituency. So you should be praising the ministers and thanking this government for making sure that the ministers are always in the chamber for you to have access to them. I think you should be thanking them. You should be praising us. They are here. They are on this side. 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 When the deputy whip was making his statements, you saw so many ministers. You saw so many ministers. And you were complaining about so many ministers being in the chamber and always being in the chamber instead of sitting in their ministries. All of a sudden, there's only one. Mr. Speaker, on the issues that the minority leader has raised, I am sure that the Minister for Finance will make himself available when it is appropriate to respond to any issues that we may put in a question for him to respond to. If he feels that matter of government policy needs to be communicated to this House, he would come. As for the levy that was passed, if you recall, the argument that was used to back the levy was that the levy will be enforced to the extent that the levy will not lead to an increase in the ex-pump price of petroleum products. That was the condition under which this side of the House accepted the levy. If implementing the levy will lead to an increase in the price of petroleum products, we will not allow that. By that time, petroleum prices were coming down, and government thought to harvest the benefits, some of the benefits, in order to deal with the energy sector financing challenges. So when global circumstances change the environment of the pricing of petroleum products, and the implementation of the levy will lead to an increase in the price, that goes against the arguments that informed the passage of the levy. And since this is a side that keeps its promise, the promise not to do anything that will increase the price of petroleum products, and implementing the levy will cause an increase in the price of petroleum products. So on the basis of that, we have halted it. And when the circumstances change, when circumstances change, and there is the possibility of benefiting or harvesting the benefits for Ghanaians to solve the energy sector, we can go back to it. So this is a government that keeps its promises, and we promise not to increase prices, and we will do whatever it takes to keep prices as low as possible. Mr. Speaker, if there's anything that needs to be done, maybe just tinker with the transitional provisions of the Act. I think we have answered all the questions. Thank you very much.